Next presentation this evening is a presentation of Convention Center and Convention Visitor Bureau Annual Update. At this time, I'd like to recognize Ms. Susan Eaton, who's the General Manager of the Wilmington Convention Center, Ms. Kim Huffman, who is the President of the Wilmington and Beaches Convention and Visitors Bureau. Thank you and welcome, Susan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council, Mr. Manager, City Manager. Thank you for having me for our annual update of the Convention Center. To get right to it, let's see here. Just a recap of our responsibilities. Of course, SMG manages the Convention Center. We market and sell to short-term business, and we facilitate the CVB with a long-term business. The Bureau, the Convention and Beaches Visitors Bureau, markets to the regional, state, and national business. We assist them with that. They focus on the hotel rooms in New Hanover County and sell the WCC, the Wilmington Convention Center. And we also, this past year, have started focused on sporting groups, sporting events that will utilize the Convention Center. Just to get right to the numbers, this is our year-to-year comparison. We fared very well in conventions and in public shows. We're down in meetings and banquets. Had a total of 124 events. And a good number to look at with the room nights is, you can see, that's grown steadily. We're at over 9,000 room nights this past fiscal year. So the good of it is we did book the most conventions, 16 conventions in one fiscal year. Public shows at 14. Those bring in a lot of rent to us and other revenue sources, as do the conventions, along with room nights. We surpassed our revenue goals in this past year by over 5%. Although our meetings were down, number of meetings were down, our revenue was up by over 130% from the prior year. So it just means that while we had less, we had better at less, better dollars from less. And of course, the hotel room nights reflected the convention business, and I do echo from time to time the importance of our triathlon that takes place in our community that brings in so many people. In working with Dick Jones, he certainly is looking to capitalize or capture more room nights this past year with sort of a fine-tuned study that the Convention Bureau assists him with. Some of the challenges that we face or deal with on a daily basis, of course, there's new competition in our city that challenges our revenue sources, in particular for short-term business. Therefore, we must negotiate lower rates to secure those pieces of business. And the number one challenge for both corporate business and certainly convention business is the adjacent hotel. When that is completed, we do anticipate that while it'll take a little time to ramp up, these conventions that have come and gone will return again, and new ones will come to us again. We work with John Sneed at the Convention and Visitors Bureau, as well as Kim Huffman, to identify these groups and sort of have a waiting list, if you will, for when this hotel is completed. So we will continue with our sales missions with the CVB, the trade shows, our sales solicitation, all of these different things that we continually do and have stepped up. This past year, we added a newsletter, a radio podcast. We've ramped up the social media. Our print media still remains strong, and we are very community involved. You can see here 18 industry or Wilmington area boards and committees my staff serves on. We support local fundraisers in the region, as well as we've exhibited or participated in 28 statewide or regional events. And we've won a Prime Site Award this past year. This was voted on, as you can see, 77 convention facilities were selected, and that's out of a possible over 400 convention facilities in the United States. So we're very happy to be a part of that consideration. The Convention Center Food and Beverage Team, Savor Wilmington, in the fiscal year ending 2014, won the Best in Show, or Copper Kettle Award, as it's called, and for their best appetizer, best taste of the food that was prepared. And there's some of our team there. In looking at year 5, the year that we're currently in, this is number of events to date is estimated at 135. Our conventions are down. I think that's attributed to, in the first 2 to 3 years of a new facility being built and the state being aware of it, the state association market, we saw the interest in the first 2 to 3 years. Year 4, we had 14, and year 5, we're back down to what we were in year 2 and 3 so far. However, some of our short-term revenue has, the meetings and the banquets, they certainly have increased. So a variety of revenue sources. In this current year, year 5, we are pleased to say that the military has helped us out this year. We serviced 23 military balls, which equated to over 16,500, I think, in attendees, and certainly is a major part of our food and beverage revenue. So with that, I'm going to turn this over to Kim Huffam, and she's going to share with you room tax information. Kim?
Thank you, Mayor and Council, for giving us an opportunity to be here tonight and share with you some more exciting good news as we continue to move forward from 2014 into 2015. And we all know how important tourism is as an economic generator to our area. It has an over $477 million economic impact in 2013. And I'm pleased to say that we once again moved back up to our number 8 position among the 100 counties in North Carolina. We had fallen down to number 9 for a couple of years. We're back up to number 8, so we were real pleased with that as well. I'd like to start sharing with you here, first off, with our room occupancy tax receipts, and we all know the importance of the room occupancy tax and the many funding sources that it helps here in our county. Not only does it fund our convention center, it also helps with beach renourishment, but more importantly, it helps us with our marketing efforts through the CVB and through the convention marketing. As you can see, these are the countywide collections. During fiscal year 14-15, to date, July through November, we are up over 11.5%. And mind you that last year was a new benchmark year, so we're up above that once again. And 2014 calendar year through November, we're up nearly 11% over calendar year 2013. When we break it down to the city of Wilmington itself and pull out the city, as you can see, the city remains very strong as well. Fiscal year 14-15, July through November, we're up almost 10% at 9.7%. In 2014 calendar year, we're up 9.55%. And some of the exciting news, and you can see the impact that the new hotel in the downtown area has had whenever you look at the convention center tax collections. For fiscal year 14-15, for July through November, fiscal year in the convention center district, it's up almost 21% over last year. And again, last year was a benchmark year, so it's having great impact of groups coming in. And for 2014 calendar year, we're up almost 18% over previous year in the convention center district. And that again just shows you the impact that it has and the importance of getting that additional hotel adjacent to the convention center. When we look at our sales leads, as Sue said, we're the marketing arm and we're out trying to get that new business, the business associated with room nights. As you can see, for 2014, we had total leads of 62 that went out of the Convention and Visitors Bureau with convention center possibilities. Of those, 21 were definite. And lost business was 17, and we still have 24 leads that are tentative, hoping that we will see many of those turn into a positive and be able to put those in the definite category as we move forward this year. When we look at some of the activities that we do individually as the CVB and also in unison with the Convention Center sales staff, we attended, or our sales staff attended 10 national and state trade show events this year. We had 29 site visits with potential planners that came into the area. 42 industry events were attended by our sales staff. Over 3,100 touches through constant contact and communication with these potential meeting planners. And of course, we had monthly sales calls to our top feeder markets where our staff is actually going in and meeting. We were also able this year, we did a little bit of reorganization on our convention sales side, and we actually upped one of our positions to a true sales manager position with an emphasis on our corporate market, and as Sue alluded to, our sports marketing as well, because we're seeing sports events and we're trying to target those that can use the convention center as well. I know we've had some cheerleading events, the triathlon, some wrestling, those types of events. So we're going to go after more of those events as well on the sports side that can utilize and bring in good room nights as well. On the media and PR side, we advertised in 14 different publications or websites. We had over 500,000 impressions through the public relations efforts, and we were actually covered this past year for our convention and convention center in 11 major industry publications. In 2014, we did continue to maximize our marketing dollars wisely. As we know, the city gives us our marketing funds annually, and we do use those to the full extent each year. And again, trying to look at ways that we can be more wise with those dollars in a very competitive market that we have. Again, I'm talking about the additional downtown property, and so now we have more available rooms in the Convention Center district, and we had a very successful year again in our PR efforts. As we look ahead, we will continue to sell the Convention Center and the benefits of holding meetings here in Wilmington in the wonderful destination that we are through both our sales efforts and our PR efforts. We will change messaging and sales efforts to reflect the new target markets, as we talked about, trying to go after more corporate markets as well as sports, in addition to the convention and meeting markets. We will target markets that fit our existing inventory and space, and with the addition of the new rooms available in the Convention Center district, we're able to take on some larger groups. And we will also continue to focus on those groups that utilize overnight room nights, which is very important because we must generate that rooms tax dollars to keep us all going in a positive direction. And with that, we'll be happy to take any questions or comments that you may have.
Okay. Dr. Sheridan?
I think this is for Susan.
Yes, sir.
In your part of the presentation, you were talking about banquets and meetings and how it had gone down last year, and it seemed to be up again this year. Do you have any idea why it went down like that? Did you do something different this year to have it on the rise, or was it just...
From 13 to 14, okay, fiscal year ending 13 to 14, there was a series of meetings that were held monthly, or a series of events that were held monthly that did go to another facility that could offer a better rate than we could. So in some cases, we lost revenue that not necessarily was, that we sort of had to cut a deal on, so to speak, to get the business. It didn't turn out growing as one would hoped, and so it went to another facility. That accounted for 14 events, okay? But of the other meetings that we were able to host in 14, some of those were more corporate-based. They stuck with us. They had a couple of meetings with us, flourished, and they're also with us this year too. We thought they were just going to be with us for 1 year, but they're with us in this year as well. So I think the quality of meeting has changed a little bit. While we had less, we had more revenue. And so this year, we're hoping that, you know, the more meetings and banquets that we have is going to be better quality revenue. So hopefully the revenue side of things will remain high in that category. So
but your numbers of meetings and banquets are up too, is that right?
Correct. Okay. Yep. They're up by, I want to say, about 20 or so right now. in those, in meetings and banquets, while conventions is down. So with the conventions, we of course have to, negotiate deals to be competitive with other cities on the meeting space and such. But they bring volumes of people, volumes of banquets and things like that, so the dollars are fairly strong. But the good news on that is the hotel side of things and all the other revenue they bring to a city. Public shows is what most buildings consider bread and butter revenue. That's their standard revenue that's going to meet annually. So the meetings and short-term stuff goes up and down year to year.
Laura?
Thank you. I think it's a good sign that you're making more money from fewer events. That's the type of facility that we want to have, that's bringing in high-quality events that pay for high-quality events and people as well. You mentioned that there are new facilities that have come online that you're having to compete with and therefore negotiate lower fees for events. Are these local additions, or are
Yes.
they out of the area additions? And is the convention center not still the largest facility for meetings in the area?
It is the largest facility. Some of the other facilities online can compete for the business that's in the anywhere from the 150 to 400 range, which had been the lion's share of the short-term business. So, and I sort of refer to short-term primarily in the banquet side of things.
Right.
So, we are reliant on the short-term business for revenue because of, we need the hotel product to improve a little bit in order to get that other business back. And what will happen is some of that short-term revenue will be either dissipated or forced to take one date or another, because the convention business will be dominant one day.
Right, okay. Certainly the food is always a good reason to be at the convention center. So
Well,
you do a good job.
thank you very
there.
much.
Thank you.
Yeah, our chef loves that.
Susan, on the hotels, I know we're going through a process now. We've sold the property to the developer. It's going to take him some time to get that hotel out of the ground. In the meantime, we've got other hotels that are opening in the area. We have one that's going to open probably in the next several months there on Military Cutoff across from Mayfair, another hotel there. There's talk of another hotel here on Grace Street, 2nd and Grace. Then you have hotels that are on the other side of the river in Brunswick County there in the Leland. And I know that with some conventioneers that I've spoken to that have visited our community, we have a number of people that go over there, even book rooms if they're looking for price points. With the location of several other hotels without the main hotel being built as of yet, can that or will that help you in some of the larger events that may want to come to town but don't come because of room? Is it the quality of the room with the 186-room embassy, or do you have enough rooms that are being built to sustain the larger type venues?
Well,
Or larger type events, I'm sorry.
of course, more hotel product is good for New Hanover County. It depends upon the group. The larger the group, many of them will have to use several different hotels anyway. That, of course, gets into a shuttle system and things that the Bureau facilitates those groups with. It comes down to a matter of the groups themselves want the convenience of that next door feel. The cities we're competing with on the state level, we are the only, I hate to say the only one that doesn't have a hotel next door or attached to us or by Skybridge or whatever it may be. We already utilize many hotels, in particular newer hotels in the area, as an alternate to a headquarter. So it depends upon the group.
Okay.
It's not an easy answer.
Right.
Every group has their hot buttons, and most of them involved a hotel next door.
All right, thank you, Susan. And then Kim, just real quick on the, on the sports marketing, one of the things that I have heard in the past from some groups that want to come to Wilmington, whether it be softball or tennis, whatever the case is, a lot of them obviously want to book in the spring and the summer months where our room rates are so much higher. And of course, Dick and his crew that are doing the triathlon do it in end of October, beginning of November, where your room rates are lower.
Right.
A lot of these sports groups that want to come to Wilmington want to come, I know, in the spring and summer months, but can you change that to bringing more of those folks in the off-season months where the rates are much lower, where it makes it practical for some of these folks to come as teams or what have you?
Well, what we did was we actually met with our hotel properties back in the spring and asked some of the things that they were looking for to bring these groups in, and that's what came up. And so what we're trying, now that we have a person that is pretty much dedicated to the sports and the corporate market, she is meeting with some of the local organizers, she's attending the shows, and that's what her focus is to bring them during the months when our rates are better and when our occupancy is down, where we need the business, just like you said, the triathlon that comes. And so we're trying to even look at the possibility of maybe even some of the soccer tournaments, trying to get them a little bit more in the shoulder season versus right in the main crux of whenever we've got the tourists in. So we are working toward that. And that's been a big emphasis not only on the sports group, but meetings as a whole, that we've been trying to promote. Come in the off season, come when our rates are lower. We can, hopefully incentivize you, with better rates at the convention center and that type of thing, if they will be willing to come during those times.
Okay, good.
So.
And then Susan, the biggest, the event that's generating, I guess, the biggest room nights would be the triathlon, the Ironman?
Yes, they're at, I believe they're over 3,400 room nights
Wow.
for 1 year. It's
a big thing.
for a 4-day event. It's magnificent.
And it's a sports event, and
Yeah, sporting event. Yeah, there you go.
there's the issue. Okay. Well, thank you very much. Thank you for that presentation.
all.
Thank you.